Back to more conversation with Chris Epps Presents on Hot 923.
And we're back on Atlanta's Hot R&B station, Hot 92.3 on
iHeartRadio.
All right, go ahead and pull up a chair for this one. It's time for CoCo's Corner with our OG Corliss, where the conversations is real, the lessons are earned, and the wisdom, is coming from experience and not Google. She's giving gems, truths, and maybe a little loving check yourself along the way. Give it up for our OG Corliss with CoCo's Corner. Corliss, take it away.
All right. So welcome to CoCo's Corner, where I like to share nuggets of wisdom with our listeners. Some of you may remember back in the day when we used to sit around and talk with our elders or simply just listen in on adult conversations.
Yes.
Believe it or not, that's exactly how wisdom is shared, through stories, through life lessons, and real conversation. So my conversation today goes a little like this. We all look at failure, and typically we look at it as a personal, our personal story, meaning we take it personally. But failure really is just a part of the process. That
Absolutely.
In order for us to grow, we have to fail so that we can identify opportunities in our lives to do better. And so when we know better, we do better.
Absolutely.
So recently I was having a conversation with some ladies, and one of the ladies revealed that she had just received her second diagnosis of cancer. I could see the heartbreak in her eyes as she shared the information. And so as we were sitting there talking, one of the question was like, why me? What am I doing wrong? And so it reminded me of, she thinks she's failed. And so she hasn't, because there was nothing she could do to totally prevent it if that was meant to happen. And it wasn't her that failed. The health failed.
Right.
And so you have to be able to. Yeah, you have to be able to separate that, because there's things that are really out of our control. And the more we learn to separate what we really can totally control, the better it is for us to accept those things that we can't control.
The serenity prayer, that's the whole premise of the serenity prayer.
Exactly. And so in the conversation, the conversation went on, and we tried to, I began to encourage her that her test actually could be her testimony. And, sometimes when people are telling you that, you look at them like,
when you're in the thick of it, yeah.
When you're in the thick, it's like, girl, bye.
Right.
But it actually can be true. And so just knowing that you can look at situations differently, look at that particular situation as you could have the testimony that I am now a 2-time survivor of cancer. Yes. You could look at that as there is somebody around me that needs my support. They need to know that somebody has gone through this journey, and they too can have hope in this situation, and that they could come out, at the end of this with a good,
report,
good bill of health. And so you also have to look at the fact that maybe the lesson is not even for me.
Right.
That part.
We all have parents, we have children, we have relatives who may be looking at our lives, and they need the message that says, if, we choose to do this, this may happen, or this is how you need to handle a particular situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we need to eat more broccoli? I'm making that part up.
Or even the strength to see somebody else's strength for what they went through sometimes empowers the other person.
Exactly.
It goes back to my favorite scripture that I always say, that it says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And that is how we evolve and keep things going as people. So great points, Corliss.
Right. Exactly. And so, the whole thing is being able to stay encouraged, to stay in hope. Because, again, looking for lessons in this situation. What is this situation trying to teach me? Mm-hmm. And then maybe I can teach somebody else. Maybe it is, I got to get some things in order. Maybe my house ain't in order, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is teaching me that, maybe I am working on a job that is extremely stressful and I don't know how to walk away. And so, God will put some things in your path and force you to lay down, right? Yeah. And so you got to look at the whole situation. Again, not focusing on what you believe you may have done and accepting this situation as like a personal failure, like you did something, but look at it more from, okay, what lesson can I learn? And then who can I share that with? Because, if you're a believer, you know that God uses other people. He uses people. Yes. Right. Should I say? He uses people to get a message across. And so sometimes you're the tool he's going to use. Yeah, and absolutely. So you don't know what the situation is going to be. But if he needs to use you, this is now when you need to step up and say, okay, I am the... Let him use you. Yeah, I'm the second survivor, or, whatever the situation is to help you get to the next level. And so I started to think about just different things in my life where God had to get me in a situation where I thought I failed. 5 years ago, companies always do layoffs, but I happened to be at a time where I could retire. Mm-hmm. And so they eliminated jobs and retired at the same time. So however you equate that but I took it as a personal failure. I felt like I had done something that wasn't right. Now I know.
Why did they choose me to be one of them to be laid off?
Right. Okay. Right. And because I have gone through that process so many times, where we had to lay people off, I understood it's a business decision and it's not personal. But again, when you're going through the thick of it, baby, that show feel like that feel like y'all picking on me, y'all. Why y'all do that to me? Right. But anyway, it does. And little did I know that this put me in a situation where when my mom got sick, I was able to take care of her full time. So what was the message? What was the lesson I was supposed to get out of it?
For you.
That was meant for me.
Time. Right. Let me move you in this direction.
Exactly.
You're here now.
Yes, exactly. So, you got to look at those situations. You don't know. Unfortunately, we can't foresee what it is, but you got to believe that God is using you and there's a lesson there, and sometimes you just got to sit in that thing and get the lesson that you can.
All things work together for the good of those that love God and called according to his purpose. And that's scripture. And all things, right? So all things, that's good, that's bad, that is in between. Everything works together in the end. And I thank you for saying that, because even with me having a similar situation where I had to take care of my mother as well when she got her diagnosis with cancer until her very last breath, I was able, thank God, to be in a position where I was living in Florida, but yet working here in Atlanta, right? So thank God for the pandemic that allowed us to work remote, where I was able to take care of my mother and make sure that my mother got everything that she needed while she was transitioning and going through her bout with cancer. So yes, you do. And sometimes in full transparency, those are wins that you don't see until maybe after the fact or right when you close. But the point that we're trying to share with everybody is, as people that have gone through it and have been in the situations where you don't know what it looks like and why, we are telling you, and Corliss is telling you, that sometimes the win is trying to find the blessing in the midst of the chaos. Exactly. Because the yin and the yang of life, the yin and the yang represents that in every the black and white circle with the black dot and white dot, right? In every dark situation, there's always light, and in every light situation, there's always darkness. That's the yin and the yang of life. And you have to condition your mindset to transition your mindset to look for the light in all situations. And even when you are in light, beware that there's always darkness around.
Oh, come on, word.
Absolutely. And as always, sharing wisdom doesn't make me right. It makes me experienced. Check me out in CoCo's Corner on Chris Epps Presents every second Saturday from noon to 2.
All right, give it up for our resident OG Corliss with the segment Real Life, Real Lessons, Real Wisdom. And that's what we just try to give little nuggets of wisdom to encourage people all the more, and particularly when you are in the thick of it, because it don't feel good, just like medicine. But I assure you that if you look for the light, it is there, and you can find it just as well. If you look for the darkness, it is there. It is okay to look at the darkness, but do not stare.
Right.
All right. So listen, we got more great show coming up next. We have Leia Sock It To Me, then Leon Mudd, and then we're coming back with our resident street correspondent Sunshine with the Sunshine Report. Keep it locked here on Atlanta's Hot R&B station, Hot 92.3 on
iHeartRadio.
We'll be right back after these jams. Keep it locked.
We'll be back.
I love the talk shows. I love the interaction.
You're in conversation with Chris Epps Presents on Hot 92.3, your urban adult contemporary radio station.